Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever in the world you are listening to this for our weekly meeting, talking about my beautiful, crazy life and how this whole transformation has been. And I think that again, I think I've said this a few times. I want to be real. I want to be raw. I think that there is a lot of fantasies, and like this is the perfect thing. And they taught us that once we have the money, the recognition, the this, the that I can dress up and rah. That's when I finally made it. And this week for me has been crazy because it's that realization, right? That I am where I once dreamed to be, in a healthy space, with peace in my heart. And sometimes you would think, well, why isn't it easy to just go, I've done this and this is how I got to where I am now. And then with people that have that, I would say trauma, just because, as I said before, I think that trauma is not what happens, it's what your brain kind of grabs and does with the circumstance or with something that has happened to you. And I think for me was mainly that self-worth. Like, I've done a lot of self-love and I've known now what love is, and I've been giving that to myself. And that whole process of understanding and giving, I like to say that loving yourself, it's a taboo. It's such a cliche. Oh, you love yourself, I am wonderful. This is not. It's about really being compassionate with all the versions of you that has done the best they can, and how it transformed into what it is. And that's, for me, self-love. It's recognition of your own self. It's recognition of your past, of your experiences, of whatever is around your reality, right? We're going to start talking, a lot about the biggest tools that I've used that has helped me to get to this point where I am right now, which is practically, and without going into further ado in that sense, is being present, it's being conscious, it's being not judgmental with myself. And that's when I mean self-love is what I've been working on, and what I've got recognition a little bit now of what it is. But for me now, I'm working towards my self-worth and feeling that I am worth it, and that I can do it, and that I am that beautiful butterfly that can't bloody see itself good. That's me, that's what I've done. And sometimes it takes a little work, or a lot of work, like writing down what I've accomplished and trying to remember it. Because if someone gives me a compliment, I can't take it. It takes me a bit to recognize it inside of me, that's me, like I've gone through all that and I've survived it and I've transformed it and I've done all this. But anyways, today I want to kind of focus on that transformation and that letting go, and knowing that whatever is being put in front of me, I just go with the flow. As I said in the past episode, it's the moment where I said, I'm going to let God, that part of me, that vibration of me that's always in love, that is always in gratitude, that is always in that high vibration, that God inside of me, let Him ride this boat. Because obviously my human self, my ego self, my all this stuff wasn't the right thing for me. It wasn't, and I don't think it will be the right thing for anyone, because you're not living in a beautiful vibration of having peace in your heart, knowing that everything is happening for a reason. We always kind of want to control and judge, and why this happened, and why do I have traffic, and why do I have here, and sometimes that self-judgment stops you from seeing things how they really are and how beautiful they really are. So anyways, today I want to go into a little bit of how it transformed from something that I thought I wanted to do into something that I was shit scared of doing, and it never even crossed my mind in that moment. Because a few years ago you would have told me you're going to be doing this, I would have said, fuck no. There's no way I am going to allow everyone to hurt me more, because I'm opening up myself, right? I'm exposing myself. I was like, oh my God, like anyone listens to this, like they're gonna think that I'm fucking crazy or whatever. And it's not like that. It is whatever you want to see it and whatever you want to transform it with and whatever you want to create in your reality. But obviously our reality is not created by our conscious mind, it's created by our unconscious mind, and our unconscious mind is just full of memories and, you know, shit that just went into your head and transformed into something else. So I always love to this movie, it's called Emotions, you know, the ones with the little, it's like a Pixar movie or a Disney movie, oh shit, I think it's called Inside Out. There we go, Inside Out, that movie. Like, you know, certain things happen, your brain grabs it, sends it like to whatever place, and then transforms into something that's the one that's creating your reality and everything, and we just call it coincidence. So I think that, shit, I'm burning myself, sorry. So, you know, I think that me being aware that that's how I'm transforming my reality was the moment that I thought, you know, fuck this shit, I can't blame anyone else, I can't do that, I'm creating this on loop, so let's get this shit sorted. Because there was no other option. For me, there was no other option. I think I touched such deep hole in the ground that I thought, you know what, I'm getting myself out of this one way or another. I just want to have peace in my heart. So anyways, as I said, you know, I'm working on my self-worth, and I think this episode specifically has guided me in through that, knowing that whatever I'm doing, I am supposed to be doing. In the same sense, you know, if you ask me, why are you doing this? What is the purpose of it? What's your intention with it? And I want to be really, oh my God, I'm burning this bloody table. I want to be raw and I want to be real, because I feel that, again, that's what the world needs now. And if anything of my experience helps you, hey, I've done my job. I feel that my life had a purpose. I think that's my main thing. If you ask me what my intention was, it was just to create purpose into all of this, is know that in a way I can look back at my life and look at it with love and think, if I had to go through all of it just to be able to pass a message of self-love and self-awareness and how to ride this beautiful, or play this beautiful game of life from a peaceful, loving self, my life was worth it. Even though now I know that my life was worth it just because I am alive, and because this is what it is. I'm still in that process, so I'm still wanting to recognize that in me. So anyways, with further ado, let's get into it. I mentioned to you guys before, you know, I started working with the disability sector. So, you know, I'm entering this new realm of things that I've never seen before, because again, in Australia, it's very organized with the government, you know, allowing people with disabilities, and not only physical disabilities, but like mental disabilities, to be able to have the help and the social recognition and inclusion that sometimes that may represent. Because obviously when we go through mental instability, all of our life gets changed. You know, we can't hang around the same people, we can't do this thing, we feel very alone. And again, for me, one of my biggest fears was to be alone. So I think that in a way, that's why I felt that my job in there was so valuable. You know, like I was making them feel normal. I was making them feel not judged. I was trying to include them in everything and treat them as normal. So anyways, I started taking care of 5 different clients. I had a few kids with me. They all individually had their own disability, learning disability or communication, or, you know, like a physical or a mental or whatever thing. So, you know, I have these few clients, and then when I started looking into it, like the first thing was like, how am I going to do this? Like, what am I supposed to do? Where are we supposed to take them? Where are we supposed to do all this stuff? And then nobody could tell me anything. They were like, just be there and you get paid for it. And I was like, okay, can we see? Like, I wanted to, and I always wanted to make something meaningful towards anything that I did, right? So, and I've always been someone to ask a lot of questions, because I like to understand what I'm doing, you know? So when I saw that nobody really knew and that there was a massive gap in the industry, I thought, fuck, well, here we go. There, I can do an app with this. Like, and I started telling in that moment, I was still living with my friend that I told you about. And, you know, I kind of told him, I said, fuck, like, we can do an app like this and this and that. And I, you know, creative moment, Rosa crazy moment, I came up with this beautiful idea. And I started working on it while I was working with these people. So, you know, I started noticing that whoever was in front of me, they were showing me something that resembled something that I was going through. And then obviously, like, studying all this energy stuff and, you know, how reality was created and how our brain functions and all this type of stuff, I started noticing, for example, there was 2 cases in particular that I was like, holy shit. Well, with the kids, I could see something. With this, I could see something. Everyone had something I had gone through, or something that resembled the mentality that I had, or something. It was fucking crazy. But because obviously I was analyzing everything, I was like, oh my God, wait, hold up. What the fuck is going on? So I had this girl that I was taking care of, and she's a lady, you know, she's like 45, 50, I think. And she was telling me her whole life, and I was just sitting there going, fuck, how do I tell this lady that I've gone through the exact same things that she has? Like, in the sense of abuse, family trauma, judgment, like, you know, a certain part of what I had gone through. And I was just sitting there looking at her going, I understand so much what she's telling me. And at the same time, I would sit down and go, that could be me. That so could be me. Like, I could be right now diagnosed and be treated like a crazy person and do all this stuff just because I don't know how to transform or project my emotions. Just because I was in victim mode. Like, I could see myself and go, fuck, like, I could be her, like, so much. And then this other client, well, they were brothers, and one of them was a big narcissist, like a narcissist, like diagnosed, like really fucking crazy, in the sense of being, you know, like very, like a narcissist. That's when I started realizing that I was full of narcissists, because I didn't even know. I had heard the word narcissist here and there, and, you know, here, and like psychopaths and all this bullshit, but I've never really sat down and read what their symptoms were and how they acted and all this stuff. And I would sit with him and go, I know these type of people. Like, I've been surrounded by them my whole life. Like, I understand how they function. I understand why you need to tell them to keep shit in peace. I understood so much, and I was like, okay. And then his brother was someone that had a really big depression, so he was really suicidal and he had really dark thoughts. And I would think, they all resemble something that I've gone through, or it's a message for me or anything. I was just sit there and go, what the fuck? So anyways, I started really going into this app idea, and I even think that I posted a video in Instagram where I was talking, you know, about Patricia, my stupid little bitch that always tells me that I can't do shit and reminds me of all the bad stuff. And you know, and I'm freaking out because I'm trying to get like the designer to do this stuff, and I'm doing all the business plan, and I'm creating an email, like a web page, and doing all this stuff and here and there. And I registered myself with something with the government, and, you know, they were like, okay, so you need to have it running in like 3 months. And I was like, wait, hold up, I'm by myself. And for some reason, I was alone doing it, and I was so focused, and I was doing it every day, and I finished the whole design. I finished the whole fucking thing. Like, I have it ready if I wanted to launch it. So, you know, I'm working with these people, so I started kind of getting off of certain people because it was too much, or because, you know, they went a bit cookie nuts, and I was like, I don't want to be involved in this stuff. Like, it's too much for me. And of course, because everything was resembling certain things that I needed to still heal myself from, and that, you know, it was just the messages that I needed to get from them. And one of the things that I've kind of learned in the process is there are certain things, and there's certain people, and there's certain circumstances that they are just there to show you something, and then you just need to move on. Because that was one of my biggest problems. I couldn't let go. I was like, oh my God, they're not going to be able to do it with me, this, that. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to save the world. I just always put people before I did to myself. So if everyone was okay, I was okay. And it was just a stupid reflection because always something went wrong. I was like, okay, I can't have control of shit. So anyways, I'm doing this app and and they tell me that I have to have it ready and I start fucking freaking out and I'm like, oh my God, like I have everything, but like, how am I going to get investment? So, I started going to networking events and tried to do it, but I was feeling weird. I was feeling, there was something there with me. So the people that I was working with, they were friends with the friend that I had the whole situation with the living and I started seeing weird things with them and I was like feeling uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, like I don't, like I just don't think this is it. And I've already, bear in mind, I have the mock-up already done. I have the business plan already done. I've got everything. I paid for the domain. I created the name. It was called Aria Path, which is a beautiful name as well. It all came out beautifully. I have everything ready, everything was fucking ready just to get the money and start testing it out. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, fuck, like, I'm going to events for the disability sector and I'm listening to all these companies and I started running into news and stuff like that was showing me how fucked up the whole scheme is and how people take advantage of these people with disabilities. So I came up with the idea that I wanted to do something for the temporary disability. So for people that were going through depression or, like a loved one had just passed away and they needed help or they needed help with the kids or help at home or social engagement. Like if you've been married for 40 years and your partner just died and you don't know what the fuck, like, help them to be included in the society and get them friends. Like it was a beautiful app. And it was going to work like a kind of Uber, like right now, like direct, so you connect, you can just go, so it was always available, because one of the things here is you have to do bookings like once a week or like in a week in advance, so if they had an emergency or something happened, it was really hard to book someone if they didn't go through an agency. So I thought it was a beautiful idea. It was a really beautiful idea, and the people that I spoke with, they were like, okay, let's go and get investment and get this shit running. And something in me just went, stop. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? I've got everything ready. Like, what's going on? I'm finally going to do my app and I'm finally going to do all this stuff. Like, what the fuck? So I started doing therapy with this beautiful lady that now she's my friend and she's my therapist. And I've been with her for the longest that I've ever had a therapist for. So she's been my therapist almost for a year now, which we used to do weekly therapies. And now it's coming to become once every 2 weeks and stuff. But I start talking to her about all this stuff and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck? I always do this. Like I always used to remind and say like, it's like I have the finish line and I'm running like a race and I'm going to get to the finish line. I'm first. I kind of look back and go, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go back and do it again. Instead of just crossing the fucking line. Like, why can't I just cross the line? What's going on? I don't understand. So anyways, I'm trying to push through it. I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, I've already got it all done. I need to do it. Like, how am I going to drop another app? Like, yeah, this took me not that long to do. It really took me about 6 months really focus. But how am I going to let go of another thing? Like, it just made no fucking sense. So anyways, I started looking into, like investments and stuff. So I meet this girl, another lady, 45, 50, she's like this big investor and she's got even in her number plates in the car was animal. Like she was, she was just a businesswoman. Straight away when I saw her, I was like, this bitch is like me. So anyways, I start talking to her and she goes, look, if you want a picture, I'm going to pick you up in the car and you're going to come with me, that I need to pick up some stuff and then you can tell me everything about it. I'm fucking nervous as shit. I'm like, oh my God. I can't work my techniques of like looking at you or my sales shit to be able to get it there, but I'm just in the car. So I was like, fuck. And the first question she asked me that kind of sent me back and I thought, what the fuck is going on? She goes, why are you doing it? And I thought, because like they're taking advantage and they're doing all this shit and like I want to put my grain of fucking sand and helping the world be a better place. And she looked at me and she goes, while she was driving, she looked at me and she goes, that's not it. And I thought, okay, well, you're not pissed. In the moment I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? But it really put me to think. I was like, why am I doing this? Do I really see myself in the disability conventions, and do I really see myself surrounded by this, and do I really feel like this is it, and like, why am I doing it? Why am I really doing it? So, I was sitting there and we were going for the drive, and I was kind of explaining certain things to her, and she was liking it, but she kept rephrasing to that sense of, why are you doing it? And after like half an hour drive, I was just sitting there kind of, going through the question, and I go, I'm doing it for me, in reality. I wished someone was there for me when I was super depressed. I wished I could have someone to go to the beach if I wanted to when I was so depressed and I didn't want to talk about shit. I just wanted someone to be there. Or I wanted to talk about dark shit and that had happened in my life, and I didn't really have anyone. If I wasn't a therapist that was going to drug me, or a friend who was going to judge me, or someone was going to say, oh, Rosa, you didn't go through that shit. So I looked at her and I said, you know what? I'm doing it because of me. Like, I wished I had someone to help me in difficult moments. When I got divorced and I wanted to meet normal, healthy people, when I wanted to do certain stuff and I didn't have no one to be there, or when I was so sad and I couldn't call anyone that I wanted, and I wanted to call someone and just vent. I'm doing it for me. Like, that's my reason. Like, and she goes, that's it, that's beautiful. So how are you going to sell it? No, what do you mean? She goes, well, if you're saying it is because of you, why are you going to tell your story? And that stopped me. Like, if I put the gear up, like what do you call it? El freno de mano. Coño! The handbrake. There we go. Like, if I put the handbrake in the fucking car, the car just went back. It was the same. I was like, tell my story. How? There is so much to say. I've gone through so much. How the fuck am I going to say my story? Where do I start? Do I talk about addictions? Do I talk about abuse? Do I talk about relationships? Do I talk about family systems? Do I talk about like, this is so much. Like, how am I going to do a pitch in 5 minutes about my business, but at the same time include my life in there? What? Like, this is what the fuck? And in that moment, everything blew, but at the same time, everything makes sense. I thought, I have to tell my story. Like, my story is like most of people, not in the sense of the abuse and the addictions and this and that, but in the way that we create our own reality on loop. And I started thinking, about my mom, and I started thinking about friends that I know and how they live their lives and what the mentality is and all this stuff. And I thought, fuck, I've got good information to pass. I because of my self-worth, I never thought, what the fuck is gonna listen to me, So, that's already in my head and stuff, and things started happening. So when I decided I didn't want to talk to my dad anymore, and I made that decision from love and just thinking, you know what, like, this is beautiful. Like, I just don't need to talk to him. Like, I just need to recognize it, still sending love, but say I'm not allowing these type of relationships anymore in my life. I'm not allowing people like this anymore in my life. Like, I don't want to be always treated like I was, because it's not them, it was me creating those people in front of me to show me what I needed to heal. It was not in correspondence to what I'm supposed to be doing, so I needed to fucking heal it. So anyway, I started leaving the clients and stuff like that, and I stayed with only 2. With the narcissist and with the depressed guy. So, I'm kind of thinking like, fuck, I'm not making as much a week. Because obviously when I took my 5 clients, I was making really good money a week, like really, really good money. And then I went for the 2 and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? So in those moments I kind of thought, okay, so, acting and stuff, like that's kind of what I've always done. So obviously the market was really hard here in Australia. So I thought, okay, well, let's do like things with modeling. And I ended up paying $8,000 fucking dollars, which I'm still paying for these photos, because they took these beautiful photos in the studio and they showed it to me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm beautiful. And in that high moment, I said yes to $8,000 for 40 fucking photos, which I've posted most of them already. Some of them I'm not, because it is one of the things that I always kind of do. I don't know if I get embarrassed. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I just left them there anyways. So, you know, because my app was going to resemble the Uber situation, they asked me if I knew how Uber worked, and obviously I did, because I've used Uber before, but I was using it from the perspective of one of the clients, because obviously I had two users. I had whoever was going to hire the service and whoever was going to experience the service, let's say like that. So I knew the experience of the service, but I didn't know the hiring of it. So, you know, I thought, okay, well, let's do Uber. But because my car is a bit older, it's 2008, I think you have to have like a 2010 car, and I didn't want to be talking to people and all this bullshit, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do Uber Eats, and I know how the system works, how you receive one, how the process of payment, like the whole fucking thing, so I could know how to do it into my app. When that whole thing with my dad happened, I started getting so uncomfortable with the people that I was taking care of. Like, so uncomfortable that I was having kind of anxiety attacks when I was with them. The way that I was driving there, I was already kind of, like, I don't want to do this, like, what the fuck. So, you know, I started thinking, like, if I don't want to do this with them now, how am I going to want to create a whole app in community with them? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why if I wanted to do this, now this shit is showing? And, you know, I think it is because I let go of my dad, his energy. Anyone who had any resemblance with my dad energy, my body was just, it would enter in shock. I was like, I don't want this anymore. So, you know, I had to let go of them. But at the same time, I was already started doing Uber. And oh my God, it was really good. I was earning even more money than what I was doing with them. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and I don't have to take care of no one. And like, I'm just driving and I'm listening to all my podcasts and I'm doing all this stuff while I'm driving. And I thought, well, fuck, it's perfect. I don't have to see people. I don't have to do anything. I get money. I can drive. I love driving. I was like, let's see where life takes me. But it was really hard for me to do it because I was feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to be a delivery driver. Like, I could actually go and be BDM, like business development manager, and earn so much fucking money, or go into a sales position and do all this stuff. Why am I delivering food? Like, I didn't understand that, and it made me feel so bad. Like, I really had to work towards, you don't have to kill yourself to make money. You don't have to have a fucking title to be able to enjoy life and do the things. And I kept thinking, why do I want to do this? Like, it just made no fucking sense. But again, when I'm saying that I let go of what I thought I had to do and I just let life surprise me and God drive this boat, I started seeing that wherever I was going, it was taking me to the next step. So I'm already kind of going through the whole app thing, and I think I posted even a video in Spanish saying, you know, I'm going to start talking about everything. And I was going through it, mate, because I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this? How am I going to talk about everything? How's my mom going to react? Like, how's my family going to react? How's my exes are going to react? How's everyone that I'm actually putting in here going to react? Because obviously I was thinking about everyone. And I kind of sat down and I thought, you know what? This is my story. It's my version of how I lived it. Maybe they have a different version in their heads. Maybe their reality was different than mine, but this is my reality. And I have, how would you say, I'm allowed to recognize that this was how I lived my life and how I took it. And you know, going back to those dark moments and kind of seeing myself with compassion and saying it to you guys, because obviously when we've gone through so much trauma, we learn how to survive. We're in survival mode. It is what it is. So, you know, I remember I was sitting there and I was thinking, okay, the app is not it. I'm going to have to let it go. And it was a fucking process because I thought, fuck, I've got it done. Like, it's there. Everything is done. The only thing that needs to do is get some money and get some clients and make it run. And I thought, everything inside of me was screaming, that's not it. You needed to create this app to be aware that everything that you were doing, it was because of you. Because you wanted that. Because you wanted peace. And if really you want to help the world, be honest. Be raw. Say it how it is. Your life is worth of a fucking podcast. Because I never wanted to do social media. I never wanted to do it. I didn't want to be an influencer. I didn't want to post. I didn't want to do shit. But I've gone through all my photos where I've put beautiful notes in them, and I was always on track. I was just not aware of it. So, I'm leaving these clients because I'm feeling very uncomfortable, and in that moment I had chosen another person to live with me. He was a younger boy. He was 27, I think it was, something like that. He was a younger boy. He was Mexican, Argentinian, sorry. And everything was good. We were chilling. He was there, I was here. It was good because it's a fucking massive house. We didn't really even see each other much. But then I started noticing that I was feeling uncomfortable with him too. And I'm like, oh my God, like, why am I feeling uncomfortable now with him? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I started noticing that without me knowing, I was allowing certain type of people in my life still, because I thought that that's what I wanted. That's what I needed. I needed someone. I didn't want to be alone. And I remember when I had to ask him to leave because I was really uncomfortable with him. He was doing a lot of shit, and I was taking care of it. Like, I was fucking mom. I was the mom. I was cleaning stuff. I was taking his stuff out, and he would even leave the door of the house open and go to sleep. Like, it was just, and I just kept, I close the door and I do this. And then that day I thought, you know what, fuck this shit. Like, no. And I went and had a conversation with him, and the way he reacted, it was like the way that everyone reacted. And I thought, that's not, I understand now. I am not aligned with this type of energy anymore, and I'm not going to allow it in my house. Like, I just don't want it. So everyone that was in that type of personality started dropping like flies. And I was just sitting there looking, going, oh my God, that was such a good cleaning. But that's what I mean. These beautiful lessons of letting go, of understanding that whatever is in your brain, you're attracting to yourself, in jobs, in people, in circumstances, in everything. It allowed me to pull myself out from my body and look at it and go, I can't blame anyone. I can't blame the circumstances. I can't blame this. I can't blame that. I have to be in total control and in total, I've got the, but I'm not holding on. I'm letting go. So anyways, I start talking to my therapist, and I'm just sitting there and I'm telling her, like, dude, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like, should I just go and get a normal job? Like, I'm doing Uber Eats now, and now I don't have the app, and now I'm supposedly going to be talking about my life, but I don't even know how to record a podcast. I don't even know, like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, and I'm going through this whole process of thinking that I'm going to harm people by telling my story. I'm going to make my mom feel like she wasn't a good mom. I'm going to make my grandma feel like she was terrible. I'm going to make my dad feel like, I'm going to make my ex. I'm going to make, ooh, and I was not thinking about how was that going to be affecting my life. Yeah. So I thought, and once I do say to myself, I'm going to do something, I just pressed play and I started recording. And I started saying everything that came from my heart, and that's why I didn't want to prepare it, and I didn't want to do anything, because I thought however it's going to come out, it's going to be beautiful, and I would just go and learn in the way, So anyways, I was sitting with my therapist, and she goes to me like, why don't you just do like an ebook? I don't know, like, I just had a friend that she did something like a little gratitude, like notepad or some stuff like that, and why don't you do something similar? And I was sitting there and I thought, well, fuck yeah, that's a good idea. Like, actually, I have little grateful, like, notes and pads and shit like that. And I thought, man, this is going to be easy for me. Well, yeah, I can just sell it for whatever. And then, yeah, why not? Again, because I was feeling straight away, I felt like, oh my God, like, yeah, that could be a very good choice. And I sat down in that week and I created the first version of my book, which is Thank You Became My Medicine. It was all going to start just by little rituals and stuff that I did to be able to get into that vibration of gratitude and that vibration of presence, of understanding that everything is perfect. And, you know, like everything that we do takes us to the steps that we need to. We just sometimes we want to hang on a little bit longer because we don't want to let go. We're just there like that Nemo thingy going, I don't want to leave. I don't want to. But there's something beautiful behind it. So, you know, I finished the book and I read it, and I actually have it printed out and everything. It's a little tiny book, like 44 pages. And, you know, I finished writing it and I look at the clock and it's 3:33 and I was like, oh my God, magic number. Yeah, because I love 333. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? So I thought, I'm going to write it down in my calendar. And so I know what day I finished writing it. So, you know, I go into the calendar and I realized, I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this was so beautifully aligned that I can't. I had put, when I decided to give myself the 9 months of being celibate, I thought I'm not going to have sex for 9 months. I'm going to really be alone and I'm going to do this stuff because I want to give birth to myself. I saw it as that, like a self-pregnancy. So I thought the 9 months. When I went to write down, when I finished the book, it was exactly in the fucking bracket that I had written down 9 months ago that I was going to give birth to myself. Don't ask me why, that was fucking trippy as shit. I had a lot of trippy shit happen to me, but because I'm very aware so I can see it. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I have to do. This is my path. I really want to write about my experience. I really want to tell my experience, and I want to do it from love. I want to do it from understanding, and I'm always waiting for me to be ready to be able to do it, and I think I'm never going to be ready. I just have to fucking do it and then take it from there. Because I always said I wanted to make a movie. That was my old thing, like a movie and a book. I always used to say I want to write, like, my story is worth of a book, or a fucking movie. It's going to be like a saga. It's got like seasons of seasons. It's going to be like a Grey's Anatomy thing. But, you know, like I never thought I was worth it. And I always thought I want to do it once I am where I think I wanted to be, you know, like when I'm successful and like when I have the millions and when I have this and when I have that, then I'll write my book. And in that moment I sat down and I thought, I did this in a week. I wrote it down when I had to. Let me go through it. And I started reading it and I felt that disconnection. Like I felt that I was writing it without going in deep into me and giving it soul to the book. That soul is me, it's my story. And I've been writing it ever since. Again, it's been a few months more, about 4 months. And I'm dedicated to actually writing it. And obviously, again, Patricia is like, you don't know how to write, bitch. You text like you talk. You don't even know how to put a comma sometimes, or like, you know, like whatever thing, like what language am I gonna do it, like this, that, and that. And I thought, you know what, like fuck this. And I've been writing, and I'm doing now like a course of writing every day and stuff. And it's so surprising how when we let go of judgment and we just let ourselves write what comes from our heart, I started noticing that I was saying beautiful things. And I was like, oh my God, like, and I would read it and I would get like flustered. And I was like, oh my God, I wrote that. Like, not just me. Like, what the fuck? How could something so beautiful come out of me? Like, I just, you know, it's still shocking sometimes because I don't give myself that fucking recognition, which I'm working on now. And I love that because you guys can see the process as well. It's like when I went back and saw all the videos that I had recorded, I was like, oh my God, that pink dress. Oh my God, my boobs. The lightning. My face. Why am I making so many faces? And then I thought, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful how I think people connect to when you speak from your heart. And I think that's one of the things that I can give myself recognition for, because I've spoken from my heart. Maybe not how people are used to it, maybe not how it's supposed to be, maybe that it's me, it's raw, it's how I am. Now I'm thinking about doing it in Spanish, and in Spanish it's another level of craziness for me. Not only because of my accents and all this bullshit, because I don't know if in English it happens, but I think it does. I haven't really paid that much attention, but in my Spanish it depends, because I've got so much trauma in my whole Spanish and in my thing, in my head, and words, again, because words have meaning. I want to make sure that I say the right thing again for my mom, and because I know that if I do it in Spanish, everyone else is going to know and maybe come and comment to her. And you know, I'm still working on that whole thing of letting her know as well that everything was perfect, but as well letting myself know that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay because this is bigger than myself. And maybe it is because I want to make meaning of everything and say like, fuck yes, like everything had a beautiful purpose for it. But even if I don't get it, and I'm not where I thought I wanted to be, but I am in that perfect moment to be able to do it from the place that I'm going to do it. So with all this being said, I wanted to show that sometimes we don't know why we do certain things, and sometimes we don't want to let go. If I didn't let go of the app and thought, fuck, like, you know, like I've done all this already, and I probably would have gone that road, I probably wouldn't be sitting here telling you guys all about this. And you know, the amount of people that have texted me telling me that my story has helped them, that they've understood certain things, that they had gone through the same situation, that knowing that if I could leave a substance, they could do it. Asking me how I managed to not be afraid of talking and doing what I'm doing. For me, I've already made it. I feel already that my life was useful in a way, that my experience had something of an impact. I always said I wanted to live this world a little tiny bit better than when I entered it, and I think I'm managing that. Like if you say, oh, I'm gonna die tomorrow, I've done what I needed to do. Everything that I'm gonna do from now on is just extra. I don't only healed myself from incurable diseases. I don't only left addictions that nobody is capable of leaving. I didn't only leave relationships that nobody would have left because there was supposedly the good thing, you know, because even if they were narcissists and they were fucking cookie nuts, they gave me everything that we thought that it's good in life. Money, recognition, power, blah, blah, blah. But you know, I've seen people crying in Ferraris, and sometimes I think their sadness is a little bit even fucking heavier. We think depression, all poor people are going to be, you know, more sad, and sometimes it's not. At least they have the faith that if they've got money or if they've got something else, they can have hope. When you have everything, you have to look inward because there's nobody else to look at. There's nowhere else. You've got everything material in your life. What the fuck do you do now? And you can see it in like really famous or rich people, and you see them depressed. Bad Bunny came out the other day saying that he had everything anyone could wish for and he felt sad as fuck. That's so sad. Having everything that we think that it's going to make us happy and still be fucking sad is so depressing. It's like, what the fuck do I do from here? So I think that, you know, it's like a little transformation of the butterfly, and I think this reflection is very pretty. You know, the butterfly goes through its whole transformation from a cocoon and darkness and then transforms into this beautiful butterfly. She can't see herself. A butterfly can't see itself and go, oh shit, I'm pretty. Woo, let's just... She knows it because of the transformation that she did. She doesn't really have to look at the exterior from the outside, and I think that's a beautiful message. Sometimes we are so focused on the outside and we don't see the beautiful things that we have. And sometimes I have to write it down. I have to sit down and go, Rosa, you've done this. You just moved to a new country and you're fucking full on settled. Look at the house that you're living in, and look at the car that you have, and look at the city that you are in. And I go for a walk and I'm just present. And I look at the, you know, the trees, and I look at all the layers, and I look at the grass, and I look at the sky, and I look at the clouds, and I look at everything, and I'm like, oh my God, life is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And the moment that I let go, right now I'm not doing Uber Eats. I'm doing my modeling, my acting. I'm focusing my podcasting, my book. I'm hosting events. I'm doing here and there. And I'm telling you, I don't even look at my bank account. I always have everything I want. Anything I need, not what I want, because I would love to go shopping and spend everything and, you know, go crazy and go to Ferrari and fucking Germany and drive up 200 kilometers per hour. But I can sit here with so much love, with so much peace, with you know, I was walking yesterday and I was thinking, what the fuck am I going to talk about afterwards? And then this beautiful idea came up, and I think that's what I'm going to be doing. So I said to you guys that I wanted to show you, you know, what tools helped me and the process and everything. But I think that I want to touch base first on certain subjects, and the next one is going to be gratitude. I really want to give you a few tools that have helped me, the mentality of how gratitude has shifted my life in ways that I don't even know how to explain to you guys. It's been a beautiful process worth sharing and worth of a podcast. So I'll be talking a little bit about my book. I will be talking a little bit about the exercises that helped me, not basic ones, but the ones that really confronted me in a way of understanding everything. And not even understand like the whys and the here and the there, but if you ask me, when I was little, I always used to say, I want to be happy, I want to be happy, I want to be happy. I think happiness is a choice. I can decide to be happy, and I've lived through it because I've experienced it. I've lived through shit. You would have never guessed it, because I was always happy. I was always smiling, I was always, you know, here and there and taking that. So I always knew that I could be happy if I chose to be happy. It was a decision mostly than something that I could find. But then I grabbed myself into something that I knew that I could find, and that it wasn't as easy as just being fake happy, which was having peace in my heart. Having peace that everything is for a reason. Having peace and knowing that every step that I'm taking is taking me to the level that I need to be, and that if I look and I listen and I kind of take it in, I can just move through it. So I want to share that with you guys, because I think it's a beautiful gift to share. And if you know someone that is going for a hard time, or if you're going for a hard time, or share this with anyone that you think can benefit from it. Just being grateful for anything and everything. I remember once they said, be grateful even for the grease that leaves your body. And that's one of the things that I love about Judaism. There's a lot of gratefulness, a lot of rituals about gratitude. And that has all been a beautiful journey for me to be able to pass this information to you guys. And I'm happy as shit. I am really happy that I can do this. So I thank you very much for listening. I hope that, you know, you kind of understood that sometimes we don't know where the fuck we're going, but let life surprise you. Let God, the universe, yourself, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, this is the same thing. Let it take you to beautiful places and see what happens. That's the only thing I can tell you. Let the magic be magic and enjoy it. Enjoy this beautiful ride and this beautiful game of life. Alright guys, I'll let you go. I will see you next week so we can talk about, you know, some exercises about gratitude, how to be present, and we're getting into the tools finally. Alright, I send you a beautiful kiss. Loads of love, loads of beautiful vibrations and energy and peace in your heart. However it comes, I hope this helped you a little tiny bit to look at your life and say, fuck, I got it good. And look, yes, everything has taken me to where I have to be. Maybe I have to let go of that, so something else new comes in and shows me how beautifully. Because I know I'm going to do an app one day. Maybe not. Maybe yes. We know not. I just know that I am where I am right now, and I'm here with you guys. And that's just the best thing I could have ever done today. Love you all. And I'll see you next week. Bye.